Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Joseph Reed Show. You are watching this on Facebook. Maybe you're listening to it on Singing News Radio, wherever you're at. I'm not even sure where this is going to go or if it even goes anywhere. Pat Barker is with me. Hi, Pat.
Well, with that introduction, I'm assuming it goes nowhere.
It has no chance.
Yeah, I love being the test pilot for a new show.
You
If it can
know,
make it with me, it can make it.
listen, when I realized I was going to revive the Joseph Reed Show, which is actually something I really started during COVID
Hmm.
because we were all stuck at home.
Right.
And I had a podcast back in the day that was pretty popular that kind of went into the Joseph Reed show. My wife got sick, as you know, in
Hmm.
2018. And then I put it on the shelf, revived it in COVID, and I've just been kind of sitting on it, but I thought it was a good time. And if those who are watching this or listening to this just know there is no agenda here, there is no plan, Pat. We have no
No,
plan.
no. If there is, I don't know about it.
Pat did not receive one bullet. But
No, none.
But Pat Barker, if you're not familiar with gospel music, Pat is the bass vocalist for the Guardians, which is a Southern gospel quartet, actually one of the top quartets in the business, I will say. And Pat has a great history in gospel music. Before the Guardians, you spent time on the road with Mark Trammell Quartet,
Sure
with the
did.
Dixie Echoes,
That's
right?
right.
Then you were with the, oh, help me,
Diplomats.
the Diplomats, Corey Pierce.
Yeah.
And is that where you got your start?
Really, I would give them credit. I sang with some guys out of my church for a couple of years
Mhm.
called the Crystal River Boys and
Oh,
really loved that. And honestly, would be happy if I was still doing that. I mean, they were just the best and they still travel some around Oxford. But um, I sang one night with the Crystal River Boys and I had made a little solo cassette and they
mhm.
would let me carry it. So Mike Bailey, who played piano for the Diplomats, his wife was at that concert. She picked up that tape. She played it. They were looking for a bass singer. And so I had filled in for a couple of weeks with the Dixie Echoes. I'd never met them,
Mm,
didn't really know their music that well, but Billy Todd was going to have heart surgery. Scoot and Corey were really good friends. That just
mhm.
all those connections kind of came together. And so I joined the Diplomats and was with them for a few years, yeah, before starting a family.
I I have to go back and ask you what was your first introduction to Southern gospel music? Not necessarily gospel music because you would have heard it in church,
Right.
but Southern gospel music.
Blackwood Brothers. My
Oh,
daddy, we had a record player, and I remember there was the Grease soundtrack, of course. That was my sister's. There was a couple of Barbra Streisand albums,
yeah.
which were my mother's.
Okay.
There was Engelbert Humperdinck, a lot of Engelbert Humperdinck, which I think was my grandmother's. And then there was one Blackwood Brothers album. And so I played it. I was maybe 11 or 12 and it was called Live on Stage. It was recorded in California.
Mhm.
JD's hitting all the low notes and Bill Shaw's hitting high notes and the crowd's going nuts. And I had never heard anything like that in my life out of Christian music because, like you said, I grew up in the church, so it was all choir music and hymns, and I loved that. I still do. So I had never heard anything like quartet singing, especially from the Blackwood Brothers in those days.
Mhm.
And so it was a few months later, Daddy said, some of those guys are in a group together and they're going to be close to the house if you want to go see them. And it was the Masters Five.
Mm.
And so the Masters Five was my first quartet concert, live concert. Now, my daddy sang in the quartet, had a couple of his records, but they were more kind of like that church group,
Sure.
great singers, great songs, but it was just straight laced singing. And
Mhm.
that's really all I knew existed until that Blackwood Brothers album. And then that changed everything.
I was 8. My dad took me to Viking Hall in Bristol to see the Hopper Brothers and Connie. I didn't even
Hmm.
know what Southern gospel was. I just knew it was a singing or
Right.
or something. So I really didn't know. I remember that night they were selling records from the stage,
Hmm.
old school.
Right.
Claude was like, "Hey, you can get 2 records for $10 or whatever it was.
I think
Raise
Claude
your
still does that, doesn't he?
I
Last time I
think
saw him,
they're
I think he was selling from the stage.
I think they're 2 for 5 now,
I
but
think
I could
so.
be wrong.
That's funny.
He and it was so cool because he was like, raise your hand if you want to do this, and people all over the audience. I don't know how many were there. That maybe 500 to 800. It was an auditorium that sat more than it was there, but it
Right.
was a good crowd nonetheless. And it was a Sunday matinee at 2 o'clock, which is weird.
Wow.
But my dad raised his hands, and I still have those 2 records to this day.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've still got that original. And really that album also started my record collecting because from that point on, I was just looking for gospel music records at the thrift store and the
yes.
antique shops and all that. So I still got that record. I have that same record sealed. I have that same record signed, but I
Wow.
still have that original one that I listened to that was my daddy's.
You know, I what this could be just me. I remember listening to the radio, gospel music. My dad would listen to WZAP in Bristol or WBCV at the time, and they would play music. And I remember my dog Scarlett making a cameo. If
Yes,
I'm
very
in here
nice.
talking, by the way,
Thoroughly.
she's
Hey,
going to be in here.
my 3-year-old may make a cameo, so we're all
That's
in this
fine.
thing together.
That's fine. That's fine. But I remember hearing the Cooks, and I
Mhm.
don't know why I have this memory, but Pat, I was just young. I might have been 5 or 6. I don't know, but I remember thinking that the
You have to
groups
take the top off, by
all
the way.
that.
Top off.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so I thought, Pat, that they were singing live. Now, in my 5, 6 year old head, I don't know about production. I don't even know what a recording studio is. I don't know none of this. So they're like, here's how DJs used to talk, some still do. The Cooks are now going to sing for us.
Right.
But I was raised listening to the Grand Ole Opry, which had that live feel. So I just
Right.
automatically thought radio was live.
Yeah.
So I remember being 5 or 6 and thinking, man, how do all these groups get in there in that radio station and sing? It's
Right.
so weird. I have that memory of thinking that. And then at some point, I mentioned it to my dad, and I thought, hey, Dad, I wonder if anybody can go to the radio station and see some of these groups. And he said, oh, no, they're playing records. And then I was like, what? It was so disappointing. But when I realized what Southern Gospel was, my first concert was the Tallies
Mhm.
and Gold City.
Nice.
Back when I Get Carried Away was already a monster hit, and
Sure.
they had that Double Take Live record, which is one of the greatest of all time, by the way, for
Yes.
Southern gospel fans out there. But it we're Southern gospel nerds, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
I claim it all the way. My
no
second
shame.
concert was Gold City and the Greens.
Oh, the
Midnight Cry
Greens.
had just come out. Miracle in Me had just come out.
Did you know
Uh,
Tony?
I did. Yeah, I got to know him pretty well. The Diplomats did the Greens homecoming,
Yeah.
and then the Dixie Echoes. We did a lot with the Greens, and then with Mark Trammell Quartet. Mark would have them into the homecoming there with MTQ, and so yeah, knew Tony well, and we were actually in the studio recording our very first Mark Trammell Quartet project when we got the news that Tony was probably not going to be with us much longer.
Mhm.
Larry Goss, Mark Trammell, all of us gathered in the room and just prayed for the family and everyone, and it was a special moment. And then we recorded "How Long Has It Been
Mhm.
Since You Talked with the Lord." So right after we had prayed for Tony, when people hear that, "How long has it been" from that very first project, that's
Oh,
what had just taken place when we decided to record "How Long Has It Been," and a lot of tears shed that day, no doubt.
what a cool story.
Yeah,
Tony was a great promoter,
absolutely,
a great singer, very distinct voice, and was an incredible MC and just a funny guy, but
he was.
just very talented in so many ways. I got to know Tony whenever I was working in radio as a program director. When they would do local concerts, typically I would be emceeing or my dad may be emceeing, and so we were always there. That's kind of where I met him. And then he would always promote the High Country Fairgrounds, their homecoming in Boone every year on the radio network. Or on the radio station. So I would talk to him and we would get spots and we would always laugh on the phone. So I got to know him a little bit. And then he became kind of a mentor when I started singing. I thought I would just be singing, Pat, which I do sing. currently.
Right.
I thought, man, that's what I'm going to do in gospel music. I'm going to sing. I'm going to travel. So we had a family group that done okay. We were very busy and had a charting single back in the early 90s. And Tony was a mentor to me through that process. I was just 17, but he always took time and was very encouraging. Tim too.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a great guy. I love the Greens. Miss the Greens. And I was at 10th anniversary live when they recorded the video portion,
Uh-huh.
which is a great record. And I
Yeah,
encourage
boy.
anybody, if you want to revisit a record, YouTube has it. The Greens 10th anniversary live is a fantastic record.
I agree.
And then Kim left, broke all our hearts, broke all our
Yes.
hearts.
Dean and Kim, they broke our hearts.
Yeah, thanks for getting married, guys.
Yeah, way to go. Thanks for
Yeah,
starting a family.
yeah. And then Amy Lambert came.
Yeah. Amy
Thanks,
Lambert.
thanks for starting a family. Then Amy Lambert came along, which was great. She was fantastic. I love Amy and the temp. She's a Templeton now,
Yeah, she is.
Templeton tourist. So, what's a day in the life of Pat Barker? You're home. You sang at the Vaughn Quartet Festival, and
Hey,
that's totally good. This is
hey, you ready? You ready?
oh,
There she is. There's our little Facebook star right there. Hello, beautiful.
why is she just the cutest thing? And
This.
how is
Okay,
she
I'll get
that
you some
how
juice.
is
Hang
she
on.
that grown
I know she's
already?
3. She's turned 3 in May.
And your
Yeah,
oldest is
19. Yeah, 19, 16, 14, 3.
that's
So it
amazing.
depends on what day in the life you're talking about.
Yeah, well, see,
So
you got home from the Vaughn Festival, went to church
went
yesterday,
to
and
church
today,
yesterday.
after this, you're leaving for a
I'm
week.
heading out. Yeah, I recorded my radio shows this morning, and now I get in a car and I drive up to Ohio, and
Mm.
we're at a fair up in Ohio, and then we're at the Ark Encounter. We're doing pictures, group pictures, in between those 2 dates, and then we're in Tennessee on Saturday and back in Kentucky on Sunday.
So
So I'll be driving all of that
what day are you at the Ark?
Thursday. Yeah,
Okay,
we're at
well,
the
I'll be
Ark on
there.
Thursday.
I'll
Oh,
be
good,
there.
good, good. I
I'll get to.
love the Ark Encounter. I love that whole event is just phenomenal.
I
I'm
remember the
glad we're
first
back.
year we done it. It's the 40 days of Christian music at the Ark Encounter. It's literally 40 days and nights of gospel music.
Right.
And I remember the first year, so much planning from the Singing News side as a major sponsor of the event. And of course, Ray Flynn is a big part of Seawalker Media, which owns
Sure.
the Singing News brands, which I work for, which this show is not really related to all that. But I remember the first year, it was uh, the planning that went into that. I couldn't believe it. The
Yeah.
pieces and parts that go into doing that, people would have no idea
Right.
how much of a work project that is to do. And maybe it's got easier, I think, through the years. I know now we're kind of in a rhythm.
Right.
And
And they've added so many of the
oh
wonderful
my
contemporary artists and
yes.
just a lot of different stuff. Bluegrass. I mean, pretty much any type of gospel music, you're going to get it
Yeah.
in those 40 days at some point. So
Yeah.
it's grown so much. I just love being a part of it. It's wonderful.
I believe last year 1,000 people came to Christ at the event.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Amazing.
Abraham Productions has always been big on making sure that the word of God is spoken at their
Yes.
events and then doing an invitation, which is rare. And I'm not saying people who don't do it, it's a bad thing.
Sure.
But it is certainly the heart of Ray Flynn and Brian Free and all of those at Abraham Productions. I
Absolutely.
love what they do, and it's a great event. So you guys come to the Ark. So Pat, when you're home, what do you do to wind down? Or do you?
I don't. I love my family. So I'm just hanging out as much as I can. I'm
Yeah.
playing with the baby. I'm playing hide and seek. Yesterday I played hide and seek for an hour. She never did find me. Um, date nights with the wife. um, Anything like yesterday was church. My wife and I had lunch with the baby, choir practice, came back. My wife and I had a date night. The girls watched the baby, got home, played hide and seek. This morning, recording radio shows and then heading out. So I try to fill the day up with things that I'm just doing with the family, especially during the summer.
Yeah.
My wife's retired from teaching, so this is her first year to not have to go back to school. So we're
Really?
looking forward to her first year of retirement. Very
That's
exciting. So
amazing.
yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, she started teaching
She's
right out
so
of college.
lovely. She's so
Yeah,
lovely. I've never
she's
met her in
fantastic.
person, but she's so lovely.
She is. She's wonderful. We met in college. And so she's been teaching straight out of college, and so she got to the point that she could retire, and she did it. And I'm glad she
I
did.
love
So
that.
I mean, I'll be working till the rapture,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, some. But other than that, I'm happy.
And speaking of working, is it just me or the Guardians doing more dates than they've ever done? It seems like,
Busier than ever. The new
yeah.
boss is terrible.
Well, you had a change of ownership, right?
Yes,
Dean Hickman, the original owner manager of the group,
yes,
did he just turn 80?
he did. Yeah, a couple of months ago, had his
And
80th
so
birthday, and
Dean's
has been through
retiring.
it, man. I mean, he's been
Man,
through every health scare you can
yeah,
possibly imagine. Had
yeah,
a big 80th birthday celebration, and of course, he is still integral to what the
sure.
Guardians do.
Yeah.
But yeah, he handed over management and ownership to John. And over the last few years, we've added dates. It's not just this year. That was a
Yeah,
joke, but
right, right,
we
right.
do probably 120 to 130. When
That's
I came on
amazing.
board, we were doing about 75.
Yeah.
So I have had to make those adjustments.
Uh-huh.
The family, of course, all the families have to make those adjustments
Sure.
when the group, has to add those dates and finances. I mean, you just got to do what you got to do. So if you want to keep singing, you gotta put on the dates.
Well,
That's just the way it
that's real
goes.
life. People,
Yeah.
yes, it is a ministry first and foremost because I know the Guardians ministry, reaching people, encouraging the believer, drawing people to Christ. That's the goal. In order to do that, you have to pay people, you have to pay bills,
Yep.
and you have to do what you got to do to make that happen. Some people don't understand the math of that, but
They
it's
don't. It always cracks me up when someone comes on Facebook and goes, "Well, I just sing for the Lord. I don't do it for money." And on occasion, I'll comment, "Well, that's because nobody will pay for you to sing." Uh, Nobody. I mean, I would sing for free if I was as bad as you were. Is what I'm going to
not
put.
Pat. Don't say
But
it when I'm in mid drink of coffee.
they
But
don't.
it's so
Here's what a
true.
lot of folks don't understand. They don't understand the time, the energy. They don't understand the days away.
Yeah.
They don't understand the work. They don't understand that we're also the roadies. We're also the
Right.
product managers.
Yes.
I do the website. I do the social media. I do the call aheads to the pastors and the promoters. I'm the road manager when we're on the road, and the MC and the bass singer.
Mhm.
Um, that's not something that a lot of people have to deal with, and so they think I just do it for the Lord and I just do it for funsies, and that's great. I used to do it for funsies,
Yeah.
but
Me
now I have to
too.
feed my family. I have to make sure we've all got insurance. We all got a roof over our heads.
Yes.
So I think it always cracks me up when people say,
I
"Why don't you just do
know.
it for free?"
And some of them may have good intentions. Other ones are a little mean-spirited with it, and it frustrates me sometimes to see that. When people think, well, in order to have this group come in, the honorarium is going to be X, Y, and Z, and they shouldn't charge, but it's really not charging. It's just trying to meet expenses and try because Pat, you know as well as I know, sometimes even with an honorarium, you're not making money,
No, mm-mm.
and
No.
people
There's
don't get
been
that. People
there's
don't
been
get that.
several dates where we've lost money
Yeah,
because of travel expenses, and
sure.
the offering wasn't what they had said it would be, and
Uh-huh.
now you got to try to make that up on the other end, and
Mhm. Sales aren't
sales
what they used to
sales
be.
aren't what they used to be, and so all of those things have to be thought of. It's a ministry first, no doubt, but
Yeah,
if we don't treat it like a business, the ministry won't last long.
that's right. Well, in order to minister, you have to have the funds to do it.
Right,
That's just the
exactly.
bottom
And it's
line.
the same argument really with entertainment. People say, "Well, I don't entertain, I minister." Well, I entertain in order to minister.
Yes.
George
Yeah.
Yonts was the master of that. Hovey
Uh,
Lister was Tony Green. We talked about him.
yeah.
They entertained you to get your attention. Then they shared the gospel with you every single time. So those kind of conversations always crack me up.
Yeah.
And again, it's why they're singing for free because they're not entertaining.
That's right. That's
They're
right.
terrible.
I think I think I think the reason that uh, I think entertaining has had such a bad rep for using that word in gospel music, but it's just the facts. In order to get their attention, in order to keep their attention, because with your job, you're programming the set. You know, you guys are working together to make sure that the flow of music is right. It's not the same at every church. Sometimes it
Right.
can be, or every venue, you can do a similar set. Sometimes you read the crowd and you're like, hey, we're gonna have to change it up. And because an entertainment factor is very valuable to get their attention so you can present the gospel.
Hmm.
You got
Absolutely.
you got to pull them in. You got to make them want to be there, and especially with younger generations. Goodness gracious,
Yeah.
you know, you've got to get their attention. Which MC work is very important, and you're one of the greatest of all time.
Well, you're very kind. Thank
I
you. I
mean it.
enjoy it. Well, I got to, I watched George all
Mhm.
my, days of watching gospel music, but standing on stage with Gerald doing
Oh,
Cathedral Family Reunion, second half quartet,
yeah.
doing the hymn sing, doing all of those things that I was able to do. I just watched him, and used to I'd try to be George. I would tell
Mhm.
George jokes, and I'd go, "Yeah, well," yeah."
I've done that. Yeah.
And you learn the great ones are just themselves.
Mhm.
And Gerald is just being himself up there. George was just being himself. Tony, I mean, he was being himself. That Tony talked off stage is like he talked on
He
stage.
did. He did.
And so that's something I had to learn, and Gerald taught me that, and it's still teaching me. We'll work with Greater Vision, and something won't work. I'll think, man, I thought that was going to work better, and I'll actually go to Gerald and I'll say, tell me what I could have done differently right there because I felt like that was going to work, and he'll give me
Hmm.
great advice every time. I mean, he's always paying attention. He's always willing to help. Gerald's been an unbelievable cheerleader, but that's where I really honed in on the MC work was watching Gerald and some of those greats.
That's great. We're with Pat Barker. Pat is the bass vocalist and road manager for the Guardians, and they're doing well. You just added a new singer, a new baritone, which
We
is
did.
Dale Forbes. I'm very happy to see Dale back on the road. And it's Dale's been a friend of mine for quite some time, as he is yours, and to see Dale back out there is really refreshing. He's such a
He's a sweetheart, and what a
and
voice! My
humble,
gracious,
meek, a great preacher, but he's always been an underrated singer, man.
always, yeah. Dude is a
Oh,
singing machine, and
so
he's
good.
doing great. I mean, he was just going to be filling in while we
Mhm.
tried some folks out. And man, he caught on so quickly,
Yeah.
and the crowd loved him. People were coming up to the table. Why don't you just go in and hire him? And so we did.
You know, Dale,
We wanted to go through everyone that had sent things in. We wanted to
mhm,
make sure we had tried out the ones we wanted to try out, and
sure.
we wanted to be faithful to do that and give it time. And it took about 4 or 5 weeks, and finally we just all knew that Dale was the guy for the job, and so he's a fantastic addition to the Guardians. We're thrilled to have him. We really are. He's fantastic.
The last I spoke with Dale in person was at Singing in the Sun,
Hmm.
and we were talking, and he said, Joseph, they had just moved, and he said, I want you to pray about something. I want you to pray. He said, I want to get back into music on a full-time basis, and I want you to pray about that. And I said, absolutely. And you could just see the desire, and you could see him that God was leading him into that.
Right.
And I think he didn't say this, but I think when you get to, and I don't know how old Dale is, 50 something, I assume.
Hmm.
Do you
I
know
think
how
he's
old he
around
is?
mid 50s. Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. So sometimes, and I know I'm like this at 51, I'm like, man, I'm old. You know, you see all these young guys out here, and so maybe not, but maybe in the back of his head, he thought, I don't even know if it's possible again to sing on a national full-time level again. But I could see his desire just building up in his heart, wanting to sing again at that level and minister that way. He's been a pastor. He's very successful in his ministry work, And so it's kind of full circle, man. He started with the Anchorman. Well, I don't know where he started, but he was with the Anchorman and the Singing Americans,
Right.
most notably, and done a great job. But it was so good. So actually, I think it was my prayer that actually got him this job.
Yes, you are a praying machine,
Yeah,
my
I
friend.
mean, listen, I pray it just goes.
It's straight. You're the peg of gospel music.
Well, the reason God hears me so much is because of all the repenting I have to do.
Yes. Yes,
So he's
I
just like,
understand.
"Oh, Joseph again. What
That's
do you
funny.
need?" That's terrible. So to wrap this up, Pat, when you're on the road, the hardest thing, and I travel to events mostly or to do TV and things like
Mhm.
that. But I sing occasionally as well and do fill-in stuff. But isn't it so hard to eat healthy on the road? It's one of the hardest things of all time.
It stinks. And so I just don't do it. I've
It's
decided, you know
impossible.
what? I'm just not going to eat healthy. Watch this. I'm just going to do whatever I want.
But isn't
No,
it so
it is
hard?
extremely difficult because the hours are so weird. So I tell you what I've started doing. I'll bring some beef sticks with me,
Yeah.
some of those zero carb things. I'll
Yeah.
bring some little snacks, and I've sworn off soda. I haven't had soda in a couple of weeks,
Ooh,
and so
that's
it's
tough.
going well.
Good for you.
I'm starting with sweet tea, and then I've gotten down to half sweet, half unsweet,
Yeah.
and then kind of go down from there. So a lot of water. You have to drink water throughout the day, but it does get difficult because I try to stay on the same schedule on the road that I have at the house. So
Mm.
I'm going off the bus and I'm eating breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm getting egg white omelets, and they call it my girl breakfast. Um, but I love egg whites. So I get that and some fruit and some
Yeah.
toast, and then at lunch I try to do my best to
It's just
to
so
order
hard.
wisely, grilled chicken and things like that, and then just not eat after the singing is over.
But
Trying to grab a beef
people
stick or
people are
something.
bringing you
Oh, they bring food all the
cookies
time. Oh
and
yeah,
cakes and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
They're bringing you all this food, which is so sweet, but it's so hard to eat healthy on the road. It's
Yes,
brutal.
but the rest of the guys have usually eaten that by the time I get to the bus, so I'm in good shape.
Good. Luckily, that's because you're doing all the work, Pat.
That's right. Yeah,
Out
I'm
there,
I'm unloading, loading. Oh, I'm just doing everything. I
out
let
there,
them sit on there and eat all the donuts.
eat all the cookies.
Yeah, that's not true.
Oh, great guys. Well, go check out the Guardians. Is it theguardians.com,
I think
Pat?
it's just
Okay.
guardiansquartet.com.
Oh,
Yeah,
Guardians Quartet.
guardiansquartet.com. And then we're on Facebook and all that other stuff.
Yeah, go find out about more about the Guardians. And Pat, thank you for joining me and just talking,
Hey, it's my pleasure, bud.
talking about
Enjoyed it
music.
anytime.
I appreciate you so much for what you do. You are a great person. I consider you a great friend, and people can also hear you on the radio too, right, Pat? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm 10 years with a station down in Jacksonville, Florida. I met Rodney Kelly and West Jacksonville Baptist when I was traveling with Mark. So when I had to leave the road, they offered me a position at the radio station. I'm still there 10 years later, but it's wjgmradio.com. People can listen to it all over the world. And then David Brown, we both know David. They've got
Yes.
My Harbor Radio
Yeah, he's
every
got a great
Thursday night.
station.
Every
Yeah.
Thursday night, I pull out the vinyl classics,
Oh,
and so they can listen to vinyl classics on My Harbor Radio. They've got an app too, so
yeah.
there's a couple of ways to listen.
Well, my Harbor Dave does a good job. I know, and I respect what anyone like that does. There's
Yes,
several
absolutely.
out there, and it's a lot of work. I know that from
Yeah,
experience to program radio and to try to uh, try to make it financially doable. So I respect any of these guys that are out there
yeah,
doing
absolutely.
radio. So listen to Pat at all times. Just listen to him.
Just listen. I've got so much to say.
Just listen to Pat. Well, Pat, tell all the guys hello when you see
I
them later.
will.
Be careful driving, and my best to your family. And I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for
Love
being
you,
here.
buddy.
It's Pat Barker. I'm Joseph Reed.